Now, the way you're going to hire, determine whether to hire or not to hire, is you're going to answer those 3 questions. Can they do the job? Will they do the job? And do they fit? Let's talk about that. Can they? So this is determined by tools, but here's what you're looking for. Can they do the job? Do they have the vocabulary to do this job? Do they have the aptitude? Can they learn? We are expecting people, as Joe said, I thought that was a great way to explain it earlier. They've got to be storytellers. So if they can't enunciate the English language, can they tell stories? Now, some of you will say, wait a minute, Rick, because I got I think Dave mentioned when I was with Champion, the #1 salesperson at Champion was a guy by the name of Kamil Salih. He was from Lebanon. And he spoke better English than I do, except for when he ran an appointment. And then he spoke Lebanese. And he sounded like he was, had a foreign accent. And he killed it. So here's what I'm not saying. They don't have to know perfect English, but they got to be able to communicate with people. We're asking them to go in and tell a story, to be a communicator. They've got to be able to communicate with people. So can they do that? You need to determine, can they do this job? Secondly, can they learn a script? Can they learn the things that we need them to do? Can they? Do they have the aptitude for it? Here's one. Can they meet the physical demands of this job? This is crazy. I had a client who actually hired, it happened to have been a lady, and one client hired a lady, another client hired a man. They both were disabled, and I applaud the intention of their heart, but they were, in both cases, they were in the window business. And the one was on crutches, 2-handed crutches, and the other lady was she was probably 67, 68 years old, and she looked very frail. Now, hear me, because the lawyer's in the room. Well, I'm not suggesting in any way to discriminate, but they have to be able to do the job, and he'll back me up on this. If they can't physically do the job description, then you don't hire them. I literally had a client hire somebody who couldn't carry a window sample. I asked the question, let me ask you a question. How do you think they're going to get the window sample in the house? Do you know what his answer was? This will blow your mind. Oh, they'll get customers to help them. Oh, what? Oh my goodness. No. By the way, do you think they worked out? No. One of them lasted 2 weeks, ran 2 appointments. The other one lasted about 3 weeks and never ran an appointment, never got out of class. That worked out for him. So, can they physically do the job? Do they have the endurance? And today, man, in our business, you're running 2 a day, and you might be driving 2 hours in between. This is a hard hustle, is it not? If you've sold on the street, this is not physically easy. You gotta be in physical condition to be able to, you have to have the endurance to do this job. Can they? Do they have the endurance? Can they do this? Do they fit? Do they fit? You're gonna find this out in the one-on-one interviews. You're gonna find this out, how they respond to tough questions. Here's the question you're really trying to answer here. Do I want this person in my organization? Do I want this individual around my people? That's what you're trying to find out. Do they fit my culture? Do I want them impacting the people that work here? That's the question you're trying to answer. Do they fit here? Do they have the right attitude? Do they understand the job? And then the last one is, will they? Will they do what must be done to be successful? And we talked about that quite a bit here earlier. We talked about how if they won't learn the script and they're going to give you some lame, weak excuse why, then here's what they're telling you very early on. I did the same thing as Brian in my organization. First day of training, I would give them the script, give them time to work on it and practice it, and then I'd throw them all out of the room. I'd go, okay, here's how we're going to get back into the training room. And they'd knock on that door, and they'd literally have to come in. And it was so much fun, by the way. If you keep in light of my background in the Navy, I loved this. They'd come to the door, and they'd blah, 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 and I'd just shut the door in their face. And everybody in the room would laugh, and the guy'd come in, he'd get by partway through the greeting, and he'd screw it up, and I'd go out, and he'd go back out. I posted a thing called the Rules of Role-Playing. Rules of role-playing. We talk about the things you can and cannot do in role-playing. So everybody knew that. One of them was you can't tell stories, you got to stay in script, that you got to be the easy customer when you're on the other end in the beginning, that you have to, the distractions happen, so you got to just keep going. You don't get to say, oh, shoot, I screwed that up. You just keep going. Would you say that at the door? Oh, I screwed it up. No, you just keep going. And then the final rule of role-playing is maximum repetitions. This is all about reps. The more reps I get, the better I get. So anyway, we put them outside and we find out in the first 2 days, 3 days max, if they will do this job. Now, I got to be honest with you, oftentimes, the first time they floundered, I just sit them down and I go, look, you heard Brian, are you going to take this serious? We've invested a lot of time and money. Do you want to do this or not? Because you can do this, so the only question is do you want to? And then I give them another chance. But in 2-3 days, you're going to find out, will they do the job, period.